This is the place to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Innovation Days.
Hello, everybody. This is Morten from Inkish. I have the pleasure of talking to a good friend, David from Spencer Metrics. It's always like when you meet people that you met several times, both in person and also virtually. It is like getting a fresh update on what's going on in other parts of the industry. And for those who don't know David and Spencer Metrics, I'm sure you will like this little interview that is leading up to Hunkeler Innovation Days in just a couple of weeks. So, David, welcome here on Inkish.
Thank you, Morten. Well, I'm really looking forward to HID, to Innovation Days in beautiful Lucerne. It's one of the few events where we can show live interconnection with equipment for fishing.
Yeah, and that is fantastic for the people that don't know what Spencer Metrics does. This is a company that's specialized in let's say, monitoring all the devices in your production, and basically by collecting all the dots, give you a much better foundation for making the right decisions. Does that put things right, David?
Absolutely. And as you know, we're a longtime proponent of Industry and Factory 4.0, which means collecting data from any source and also being able to deliver it to any source after it's been processed. So we're part of the workflow.
Yeah, definitely.
We're going to be showcasing capabilities that are growing. We'll be showing completely automatic data collection, which is robust, real-time, and labor-saving. And our enhanced programmable API is delivering outputs to all kinds of things, including MIS ERP systems, etc. So in Lucerne, we're going to be connecting in with both the PageWide and the Indigo presses from our recent partnership with Hewlett-Packard. And as you know, we also have connectivities with Canon and Ricoh and Zycon and Xerox and that group. And we'll be showing data collection from the Hunkeler finishing lines live and various Horizon finishing equipment. And for the first time, we're going to be demonstrating live digital connectivity with Bograma for their programmable rotary die cutters.
Fantastic. And I remember the first time I spoke to you, I was a little bit, first of all, I was really pleased talking to you because it gave me a new, let's say, insight of the industry, because obviously you cannot make educated decisions in your business if you don't have the right data. And one thing is connecting the digital devices that may be better than the old equipment, deliver some kind of, let's say, output that you can monitor. But you also have the ability to monitor on all, let's say, analog equipment, because you can put sensors on it. So basically, what Spencer Metrics is capable of is doing a 360 degree on almost any equipment in a print shop, right?
Absolutely. And if the equipment has digital capability, then over time we learn how to get much more robust data through the digital connection. But we can connect to anything in the shop through the sensor-based approach, and something we've developed called Autometer, which allows us to actually have multiple sensors on a single piece of equipment and integrate all of that. So we can get quite a lot of information that way.
One of the things I want to share with our audience, David, is that when we met at Printing United, I know that you were not there, but when I spoke to Vishal at Printing United in Las Vegas last year, we were so fortunate to have to talk to a few of your customers, and one of them was a company where I think the headquarters was in Texas, and the production was in Mexico. And I think that when you look at what data do, this was a brilliant example, because the company actually realized that they thought they had good understanding of the operation, but with the data they got, they actually were able to to turn the business even more profitable, because they identified some of the bottlenecks that is maybe not so easy to identify. And they also realized the difference in staff performance. And you can always feel a little bit like, okay, am I surveyed or monitored in a way that can turn things out in a negative way? But as I spoke to them about, it was like a mutual aha experience for both employees and for the management to see how they can actually make the business much better. And I think that really proves the fact that the data that your systems can provide simply makes the businesses much better. I don't think it's simple, because I think maybe it's simple to put up the let's say the measurements. But the owner, I can't remember his name right now, is a super nice guy. But he said that, okay, the wealth of data you get is also like you really have to comprehend and understand how to utilize it in the right sequence. So that was a super good experience.
They have 1,000 employees in Mexico, and their management offices are here in the United States. And so we're giving them the ability to get real-time information of how that whole operation is running. And they're in specialty type applications, which is a growing application area.
That was kind of merchandise, wasn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah.
So we're in printing, we're in packaging, we're doing stuff in just plain converting. We have more and more customers around different parts of things that touch on the printing space.
When you meet customers, I mean, I guess that you and your team from time to time go and visit customers as well. Is that like let's say the feedback that you get from customers, that they are actually surprised on the level of details that you can provide?
Yes. In fact, Vishal, our VP, is currently at a customer and reviewing things in person, making sure that we have a good, complete understanding of how they operate and anything we might be able to do to make things even better for them. Mm-hmm. And that's really the big way in which our system continues to grow, is getting feedback from customers on additional things that they would like. Mm-hmm. And so it winds up being it's quite robust now after over a dozen years.
Mm. I told you before we turned on the camera that my friends thought I was stupid when I started Inkies. Did your friends think you were stupid when you started Spencer-Metric?
They still do.
They still do. No, I'm just wondering, because I mean, today it seems so obvious that we want to have data and to make these decisions. But sometimes when you have an industry that has been growing almost endlessly, maybe sometimes management didn't pay so much attention to the detail.
Well, we really have to pay a lot of attention to details, and we have to try to find a way constantly to pick up data, but turn it into information. Mm. And have that information in a way that can be consumed by people who need it, so that they can actually get a good understanding of their operation, give them insight into what's going on, suggestions on how to make things better, statistics on what's been going on, and real-time data of what's happening right now.
Mm. I remember the first time I spoke to you, David, I think I asked you a question, or at least that was something that I was thinking about. Because, I mean, one thing is that you can connect all this data, but Spencer-Metrics doesn't have like any, let's say, software that creates kind of actions to the data. That is something where the owner basically incorporate that, let's say, information, that knowledge into other workflow systems in order to get that. But with APIs today, would you be able to read, let's say, bottlenecks in your binding machine number one, and then basically, let's say, put up a red alert to the product manager that they should look into efficiency gains, or how does it work today?
Well, you're right. What we do is we analyze the data and we come up with recommendations on what to do to make things better, where the bottlenecks might be, what obstacles you can work to get around. We have a philosophy of not actually making any change, because we don't want to stop the workflow. Mm-hmm. We think it's important to allow things to progress. But if something's being produced incorrectly back at, say, the press, before it goes down the line, we do set up alarms and inform management in real time that, hey, there's a problem that's just been discovered upstream. Make sure you take care of it and don't process it further, because the cost of processing it further is far higher.
And what about, because obviously not all printing companies in the world are customers with Spensometrics, but I was just wondering, because whatever cost it has to implement these kind of solutions, is there like a picture of an average, let's say, repayment time of an investment with you guys? And the reason I'm asking is because, as we spoke about before, when you have a company where you maybe make wrong decisions because you don't have the right data, it can end up being very expensive with all the let's say, the faulty decisions you make, right?
We get a positive return on investment in less than a year everywhere. It's often just in months. Okay. And by the time you're out like 5 years, the ROI is typically in excess of 10 to 1.
Wow.
So it's a very high return, because what we're doing is customers have made a tremendous investment in all of the equipment. And what we're doing is we're making that investment give a higher return. So if you put in, a mere $5 million, $10 million into your equipment, we can give you a few $100,000 return pretty easily.
Does that mean that that your growth is mainly limited by business owners' understanding of the value of what you provide?
Exactly. I could not have said that better. Our challenge is to communicate the value of what we do. It's real, it's demonstrated, we can reference it in many places, as you just referred to, one of them. And getting that word out, for which I thank you a lot for doing these videos, that's really a good part of really the effort we have to put in. The product works, and it gives a great return.
Is there because, today where I think that all new equipment is born with IoT, and you see multiple vendors having different kinds of dashboards collecting IoT data, I think that you dig a level deeper in understanding these data. That is like the one thing I want to ask you. The second thing I was just wondering, you started way before IoT was even a term, right?
That's correct. We started off digital, programming interfaces to everybody. But after we started doing presses with digital connectivity, we had customers come back and saying, well, okay, now we have the data from the press, but we are going down finishing, or we're going down mailing, and we need to get more information. So we turned around and said, well, of course, we can use sensors. And sensors become something that we take the sensor information and we move it, we digitize it, and we put it into the rest of the system just as if it was digital data, with as much detail as we can generate. And with some AI, you can do a lot. And then we merge it all so that you can get its full overview of all your operations.
So when you look at how, I guess that you also from time to time have time to go and watch some of these dashboards that are very focused on giving, I wouldn't say similar. Some of the details are obviously the same, and because when the day is over, it's a matter of getting data so you can make a proper decision. But is that something that is, let's say, something that you encourage and see that it's great that you have that kind of competition in, let's say, in the dashboard from each of the OEMs, or is it something? Because I heard, and I can't remember where I heard it, but I actually think I heard that somebody was talking about that your measures in Spensometric was actually better than what you just get out standard from an IoT device, because you basically have that vast knowledge of many years of actually interpreting the data. Do I remember right, or is it?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
Yeah, we provide the data in a format that makes much more sense to production managers in our industry. Because we've got a lot of industry knowledge. I've been working in this industry for decades, too longer than we want to talk about. And we also have multiple dashboards. So you flip through it. We have this ability to drill down so that if you see something in a display and you're at a workstation with it, and you touch the item that you have a question about, it opens up the next level of data. and we can do that for multiple levels, all the way down to seeing exactly what the machine was doing and exactly what the operator said. That's a unique thing that not too many other companies even do, is that we semi-automatically get information from operators. And we get the information in real time, so we know why there's a downtime activity happening. And we do all that with feedback to the operators, so that, here's a funny thing, when we first installed in a couple of locations, before we even turned the system on, but we had the operator terminal running, the operator productivity increased because we were giving operators feedback on how they were doing. And suddenly they said, I can do better without any management input. And it was really interesting. We've seen that now in multiple locations.
I mean, that's an awesome story, of course. I was just wondering because, I mean, obviously the feedback and the collaboration you have with the clients and the printing companies and the customers using your service is obvious, because otherwise they could not get the full benefit. What about the OEMs? Are you also working with them? Because, I mean, the knowledge you have about, let's say, UIs and bottlenecks on the separate printing machines, that must also be tremendous value for the industry.
Yes, we have some of the OEMs actually use our system as part of their feedback during installation, so they can understand it helps their customer use the system better, and gives them feedback on where the customer needs more training, and gives it in some cases it saves airplane fares to go over and see what's happening, because they're getting real-time feedback of what's happening, what caused the problem that they suddenly see. There's a lot of that where the service side of the OEM likes our system a lot.
I can imagine. David, before we talk about Innovation Days, I just have one more question, I think. And that was like, when you have been working on data collecting for years, is there still do you still have like a roadmap with potential improvements and new things that you would like to dig into, or how is the development of your software?
Well, on the one hand, the software is complete. On the other hand, software is never complete. And there's this large list of things on the priority stack of what we want to do next. And then customers come in and they say, there's something else that we need, and that changes our priority a bit.
Of course.
We have some large customers who are very happy with the software, and they come up with, as they use it, more and more things. They say, well, maybe you could do this. One of the examples, just quickly, is since we are measuring things about what's happening to not just the printing on the one side, but on the various pieces of finishing as it goes even all the way out the door, we can give a timeline of a job from when it's created at a press until it actually ships. And we also can, with that data, you can see if it didn't ship, where is it in the timeline? So there's all kinds of information like that another opportunity to still take the data and monetize it further.
But that's also amazing, because when you said that, I just realized that I think that since everything is almost everything in a printing company is based on hourly rates, you have maybe an idea of each process, but you may have not so much ideas about how long time it stand and wait for the next. So basically, you have added a layer of the planning efficiency of how to get jobs done, because the sooner you can get them out, the sooner you can invoice, basically, right?
We can even get groups of jobs of a certain type and compare how the workflow was from a measured point of view with one type of job or with another type of job, so you can actually see relative profitability on different kinds of jobs.
Fantastic.
One of my philosophies on this is that time is uniquely not a renewable resource.
That's true. And we should always remember that, by the way, right?
Exactly. So once you spend it, it's gone.
So unless you invent a time machine, we have to live with that mantra, right?
I'm working on it.
You're working on it. David, besides Lucerne being a wonderful city, good restaurants, and fantastic city by all means, we're going there because of Hunkeler Innovation Days, of course. But what to expect from you guys there?
We're going to be demonstrating live with a lot of different pieces of equipment, and we're very much looking forward to talking with existing and potential customers. It's a great venue. We look forward to it every time, and we always come out of it saying, "Gosh, that was a great show."
I think that I have never heard anybody saying that it was not a good show, and I think it is down to the fact that it is maybe one of the shows that resembles a live production the nearest, without being a printing company. And therefore, I think it's also interesting when you are connecting with so many of the exhibitors, so you can see real data. People can basically check whether you're right and go down and count the number of print in the stack, basically, right?
And the Hunkeler team itself is just a wonderful group of people to work with.
I agree. And this is, of course, a fantastic opportunity to learn about technology. And I think that the journey also of Hunkeler and let's say the digital print space, but adding commercial print packaging labels, not at Hunkeler Innovation Days, but at least the commercial printing space is also creating a lot of new opportunities, because things are moving faster and become maybe a little bit more expensive. There's too many errors. So I'm sure that it will be beneficial I could just tell everybody watching this, you should definitely go and see what Spencer Metrics has in their portfolio, because when you start understanding what they do, it's pretty amazing, actually. I have been positively surprised a couple of times when I have been at your booth at various trade shows. So I think it will be fun.
Thank you for the compliment. We look forward to being able to make everybody that comes by and sees it. We want to amaze everybody with what we can do.
Fantastic. David, when you go here, have a safe trip with your team. And I look very much forward to see you in Switzerland. And and then I'm sure we can exchange more ideas and more things to talk about, because we would like to interview you guys also at the show floor, of course.
We look forward to it. Thank you so much, Morten.
Okay. Bye-bye.